When comedian and Oscar-winning actress Monique posted an open letter to Whoopi Goldberg, the internet immediately lit up. Some people supported her, others said she should just let the past go. But what if this story isn't really about Hollywood drama at all? What if it's about something much deeper, something many women quietly carry? The mother wound. The letter revisits a moment from 2018 when Monique appeared on The View. The discussion centered around her career controversy following the film Precious. Monique says she fulfilled her contractual obligations for promoting the movie, but industry leaders expected more appearances without additional pay. When she refused, she said she was labeled difficult. During that interview, Whoopi Goldberg suggested that promoting films is simply part of how the business works.
8 years ago, I did a movie called Precious. And thank you, baby.
Very good.
And on that film, I received $50,000, and that was not my argument nor my fight because that's what I signed up for. Once I did all of my obligations, my deal was with a man named Lee Daniels. I did all of my contractual obligations and I was done. Then when I start getting calls from Lee Daniels, Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, and Lionsgate, and they wanted me to come work for free. They wanted
do what?
to go over to Cannes and promote this film internationally. And I said to them, I said, guys, my deal is with Lee Daniels and I've done my job. And they all agreed. And this is what happens, in my humble opinion, when you don't go up to the hotel room. See, when I think about those women that said...
I'm going to stop you.
Okay.
I'm going to stop you.
Okay.
Because contractually,
Yes.
when you make a movie, regardless of who you signed the deal with,
Yes.
your job is to go and promote said movie.
Yes.
No, but so when they wanted you to come, and we've had this conversation, and I said if you had called me, I could have schooled you on what was expected.
And when we did have that conversation, and what I said to you, my sweet sister, I said, Whoopi, at what point do we stop saying the next time? Because what was expected.
Wait,
but I
next
want to
time?
answer it though.
Yeah.
I want to answer when you say
You wanted
contractual.
to get paid for the to
Please
do the
let me answer.
publicity?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Because if I had done something wrong contractually, they would have sued me. The reason why no one could do anything to me contractually, because they found out I did nothing wrong contractually. So when they asked me to come overseas to promote the film, when I said, guys, I'm spending time with my family, I'm going to pass. Now, when I make the statement, this is what happens when you don't go to the room. What Tyler Perry showed me, Lee Daniels, Oprah Winfrey, and Lionsgate, when you don't do what we ask you to do, we'll take your livelihood. So for 8 years, my family has suffered and my career has suffered because what I would not allow those entities to do was bully me. And because I didn't allow the bullying to happen, this is now what I sit in.
Monique felt dismissed. Years later, she wrote publicly asking if Whoopi's perspective had changed. Well, social media had mixed reactions. Some people said, Monique has always been telling the truth for years. Others said, why is she bringing this up again? But trauma doesn't follow a public timeline. And for Monique, many believe the pain didn't start in Hollywood. Years before the Hollywood controversy, Monique appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show. During that episode, a deeply personal topic was discussed. Monique has spoken publicly about childhood abuse. Her mother was brought onto the show to respond. Instead of the support Monique hoped for, the moment became painful and complicated. A daughter seeking validation and feeling like she didn't receive it. For many viewers, it was just television, but for Monique, it was deeply personal.
When it comes to Oprah and Monique's falling out, it's actually more complicated than it seems. We discovered that it's deeply personal. So both Oprah and Monique grew up in very abusive households. Monique had always looked up to Oprah ever since she was young.
I'm a little black fat girl from Baltimore, Maryland. And I saw this fat black woman on a TV show. We took a field trip to that studio. And I hugged that woman. And I said, when I grow up, Miss Winfrey, I want to do what you do. And she said, you know, you gotta work really hard. The woman hugged me and said, when I look at you, I ain't doing nothing but looking at me. And I shared my relationship with her about my mother as she shared hers with me.
The first thing I said to her was, who's your favorite designer? Because you need to get your dress ready to walk down that red carpet to the Oscars, girl.
Monique had been betrayed by somebody that she never saw coming. This is where things shift from professional to deeply personal.
What happened?
Oprah Winfrey called us up and she said my brother wanted to come on the show.
Your older brother you described as a monster, and he abused you.
Yes.
From the time you were
7.
How did he abuse you? Are we talking about sexual abuse?
Yes. She said, if you don't want me to have your brother on the show, I will cancel the show. But I wanted to call you up to see how you felt first. I began to see commercials with my brother, my mother, my father, and my other brother. Now, the reason why that means so much is because in the conversation we had about my brother, we then went deeper and we began to talk about our relationships with our mothers and our fathers. She never said my mother was coming on that show, because had Oprah Winfrey said, I'm gonna have your mother, I would have said, shut it down.
Not only are you betrayed by somebody that you thought was your friend, but somebody that has lived the same experience as you and should know how deep that would hurt.
I looked to Oprah Winfrey and I said, you know, you and I need to have this conversation. Why would you have my mother on your show? And she said, if you think I did something wrong, I want to apologize. No, Oprah, it ain't what I think. You did do something wrong. You had full intentions of having my parents on your show and not saying anything to me.
It's impossible. If you meet negative with negative, you will just have a combusted negative force and negative energy. You have to rise above it. You have to transcend it. You have to be the light.
I'm unapologetic and I'm unwavering about it. Because when I see this woman, Oprah Winfrey, how do you as a black woman watch another black woman be thrown under the bus based off of a lie? What I won't do is be quiet. I won't go away. I won't back down.
Psychologists often talk about something called a mother wound. It's the emotional pain that can develop when a child doesn't receive the validation, protection, and nurturing they needed from their mother. And when those wounds go unhealed, they can show up later in life, in friendships, in the workplace, and sometimes in conflicts with other powerful women. Because when the first woman meant to protect you doesn't, every future disappointment can feel heavier. What I like to point out about this is that a lot of times when women carry a mother wound, what'll happen is when other women that in some way, shape, or form trigger that woman in regards to their mother, like there's some familiarity there, and it could be in a good way. You know, those things stand out to them, even in a positive way, and they will be more open to these women and be more expecting of those women to pour into them like a mother should. And when that doesn't happen, it's more hurtful to you and you give it more energy than you should. And in this case, to me, and this is my personal opinion, you know, Monique wants to stand up to Oprah, to Whoopi, to Tyler Perry, to Lee Daniels, and others the way she wants to stand up to her mother. And I understand it fully. That's why I can fully see it. And that is something I had to realize within myself as well, is that my gripes was not with so much with other women. Yes, there have been other women that mistreated me, that harmed me, that disappointed me, you know, but the energy that I gave it, the energy that I gave situations that resembled situations that happened in my past concerning my mom, I realized that I gave those situations more energy than others. When I realized that, I could take away all of the other stuff, all of the smoke and mirrors, and see the situation for what it was and address it properly. And there have been moments when I've had opportunities to stand up to my mother the way I feel like the little girl in me didn't get the opportunity to do so because of religion, because of respect, because of culture and how we view our moms, and you don't talk back to your mom and you don't disrespect. And sometimes those things can be conflated as just allowing disrespect, just allowing boundaries to be crossed, allowing things that you wouldn't allow in other relationships just for the sake it's your mother. And I had to break down all of those things and realize, okay, at some point I was misled. Now that I'm no longer misled, this is how I'm going to handle the situation. But before that, it was difficult because it was like she's the one person that I really can't get together in the way that I want to and should. So now when I get an opportunity to get together somebody else, I'm going in. I'm going so hard because I got to make up for what I can't get in another area of my life.
Healing a mother wound takes time. It often includes recognizing the pain, separating past wounds from present relationships, building supportive female friendships, and sometimes doing the deep inner work of comforting the child within us. This is very true. It took all of these steps for me to break down my own mother wound. I had to first recognize that is what I was experiencing, and then kind of like stepping outside of myself and being an evaluation of myself while I'm in relationships experiencing conflicts with women. Before I respond, I really take a look at how hurt I am. And I ask, why am I so hurt? And I say, if this other person did the same thing, would I have the same response? Why am I having a deeper response? It takes time to have that type of evaluation of yourself because it can be a very emotionally heightened situations. And I'm not even saying I get it right all the time. I'm not saying that even when I see it, I respond correctly. I'm not saying that when I see it, I respond correctly immediately. It's stages and phases, but more and more I can begin to see it and break it down and identify it and say, okay, you know what? I've been sticking in this toxic, poor relationship with this woman, in a friendship level or working together or business or whatever. I can say, okay, I've been doing this for the wrong reason. I can clearly see that I've latched on in spite of what I can see as truth. In spite of me clearly seeing I've stuck in around, and why are you doing that, Candace? Why are you doing that? I'll begin to question my own self, question my own motives for it. And then there has to be a level of care, love, and trust that you have for yourself in order to move forward properly. And that's where the deep inner work comes from. And having supportive female friendships, meaning having women in your life that you can be vulnerable enough to express these things to, and they won't take that information and use it for their own personal gain and to wield you to do what they want you to do and be more manipulative. When it's women that you can truly trust, they will help you navigate through those things. or be a light or an example of what it could be like and feel like to walk through good, positive female relationships. Monique's open letter may have started a conversation about Hollywood, but it also opened a door to a much bigger discussion. How do women heal when the relationships meant to nurture them become the source of their deepest pain? And what happens when those wounds remain unspoken for years? Maybe the real conversation isn't about who was right. Maybe it's about healing.